to jump in. So functional FRA stands for functional range assessment. That's the assessment that is utilized in the functional range systems in order to really create a three-dimensional understanding of the athlete's ability or the client's ability to move through three-dimensional space. So what's interesting to point out about the FRA as we're talking about this is that if I asked Hunter, if I asked you, for example, what's going on with her left big toe, you would, quickly run down into that FRA and you'd be like, this left big toe, has a deficit in passive range of motion of this. It has the ability to actively move into this. The person's ability to neurologically control that foot is this status, et cetera, et cetera. And then if I say, well, how about the right elbow? And there's answers. So pretty much you're taking a human system and you're breaking down all capacities with regards to the functionality of the joints, like you said, the stiffness or extensibility of the connective tissues, as well as the speed parameters of the muscular system. You're really getting an overall, we call it, as you when you're explaining, the physical. So
yes,
real,
and that's still how I sell it to this day, right? So like I give that example. I say you go to the doctor every year and you get a physical done, but that's a terrible name for it because there's nothing physical about it. Really, they should call it a chemical, as we've said a million times, right?
Yeah,
So you're getting your blood serum levels, your cholesterol, your testosterone, vitamin D, and you're just comparing them to what as a society we've decided are these like normative levels. Like are you within this range, which is an obnoxious range, but that's a conversation for another day. But are you within this range? Are you high? Are you low? And the only reason that information would ever be valuable, Dre, is if you get a physical every year, right? Because let's just say your cholesterol is a little bit high today, but you've never had a physical in your life and you're in your 40s. Like, what if this is actually the lowest it's been in 20 years because you have been making good decisions? So it's hard to make any good decisions based off the physical if you don't collect data over time. When somebody goes through the FRA and now they've collected all the information, however long it takes, they've collected everything, right? So now I know every single physical capacity of my client's body. I look at them and I say, do you remember what I said a couple hours ago, how this was the physical? Do you see how this is that? Like I measured all the physical capacities and now we have a snapshot of your body on today, which is 1/9/2025. And now what we do is we compare that to other numbers as time goes on. We're building a relationship here. So maybe your cholesterol's high today, maybe it's low, but what I care about is trends over time. Is are we moving things in the right direction? Now, going back to your original question to me, it's like, how do I use this? It's obviously used slightly differently for professional athletes for Gen Pop, but the answer is not really very different at all. It's just the timeline slightly different. But like for a professional athlete, like at the end of their competition season, so at the end of the Olympics, the last race of the year, she actually had one more athletics, but after the last race of the year, typically a vacation happens, a little time off, you just competed for X amount of months. But when you come back, your off season begins. So day one of the off season, we do an FRA. And the idea there is to see like what happened to your body physically this competitive year, which is another, like to put it more plainly, what got worse? Because if you're competing at a high level, things get worse. That's just how it works.
100%.
So,
and I hope everyone knows that
the
measurements
it's just the reality.
The measurements that we take preseason and postseason for any athlete, baseball pitcher, range of motion with regards to the forearm, elbow. I mean, with the schedules that they undergo, there's going to be changes. Well, the extent of those changes are going to vary depending on the specificity of your applied stimuli, but we'll get
exactly. Which is what we're leading to, right? Because like then what I do is I work with her for the entire off season, and I say her because we're talking about Sydney, but any athlete, and then I do it. But before I send them back off, whether it's to another state or another country or whatever else, now they're going back to the preseason and then going back to competition states. We do another FRA. Even if it's like not the entire thing, because the entire thing takes a long time, but like the main things we've been training this offseason, if it's just hips, just shoulders, just spinal segmentation, like we take another set of videos, another set of photos to kind of compare data, right? It's like getting another physical done to see how your blood work's doing at the end of a intervention. So we now compare, and what I do is I have a sit down with the athlete and I say, look at what we've accomplished in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. But I also care about how do you feel?